Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Designated Report, Flick Report. My name is Pete Alcide.
And I'm Hasib Hossain.
Today, we're going to review Coming to America 2. Hasib, tell me, how do you feel about that movie?
I thought it was all right. I can't help but compare it to the original. The original is an old-time classic.
Yeah.
I love it to death. Spoke to me because at its core, it's an immigrant story. Mm. And that was missing in this movie, and therefore I think the soul of that movie was stripped. But there was still a lot of funny parts. I enjoyed it.
I feel you, and I feel the same way actually because, I saw it since I was in Haiti. I watched this thing, knew it in French, came in America, and literally learned it word for word. As the movie played, the original one, I can repeat as we go. That's how much it was to me. And then when the second one, when they announced it a few years ago, almost 6 years ago, when they first said that this movie was gonna have a sequel, I'm like, okay, cool, can't wait. And then it was somewhat underwhelming as far as comparison to the first one. And there are a lot of places I felt like, little words that made a big difference in the first one should have come in the second one, given that they were giving a lot of flashbacks anyway. So it would have made a big difference to reconnect both movies. But in general, I thought, it was okay, but very entertaining as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed.
So I know you asked me before who stole the show. Like, who would you say was the star of the movie? I mean, we know Eddie Murphy was, but who would you say stood out to you in the movie?
Well, honestly, the star of the movie for me wasn't even any of the actors or actresses. It was Ruth Carter. Mm-hmm. And her outfits that she designed for this movie, mm-hmm. Bro, the fits and the drip. Jeez. I couldn't help but I cannot take my eyes off any of these outfits. They were just outstanding. She's a legend in the game. Yeah. Shout out to her.
I agree. Like the outfits. I mean, it reminds me of the Wakanda, scene, because that was one of the most stood out thing in the movie, and I'm glad they won the Oscar for it. It was perfect. But for me, if I were to pick one person that really stood out, I mean, we know Wesley Snipes definitely did his thing. This guy was hilarious. Since White Men Can't Jump, I've never seen him so funny. Of course, Dolomite is my name was also, he was pretty good in that, but he wasn't in there because he was compared so much to Eddie Murphy, he didn't stand out. But this time, this dude came correct. And I remember watching an interview with Eddie Murphy about the movie, and he said Wesley Snipes, it was just a continuance from Dolomite Is My Name, and then they just came in and stole the whole show. That was pretty good, and I would give him that award for this time as far as who stole the show overall. Now, speaking of the writing, I know we kind of have to talk about that. How did you feel about
that? This movie was all over the place, man. What made the original so good, it told Prince Akeem's story. Mm-hmm. And this time, it was 3 stories. It was Prince Akeem, his son Lavelle, mm-hmm. and the princesses, but I feel like they had to juggle way too much.
Yeah.
And in fact, the storyline about the princesses I felt was very lacking because they focused mostly on Lavelle and Prince Akeem, and it didn't vibe with me at all.
And I feel you. It was packed. And that's one thing. After I watched the movie, I felt a little itchy. Something wasn't sitting right. The dialogue somewhat were a little too TV-ish. And I'm like, okay. And that's one thing I usually do, looking for the writers and the directors of the movie. And then I went and looked up the writer, and I'm like, oh, that's the same dude who did Blackish. Of course, it makes sense now. It was too Blackish for me as far as the writing, okay? Because it was basically a bigger version of a Blackish episode. And which it was too on the nose. Like some of the things I could still guess what he was gonna say, how he's gonna say it, and some of the things I think he should have said didn't say. It just didn't do it for me this time. So I mean, it wasn't what I was expecting as far as that goes. But anyway, I know we don't have that much time left. Anything else that you want to point out in the movie, and how would you score it? I know we talked about that before.
Well, my favorite part of the movie. There's one scene where Lavelle has to do something with a lion in order to prove himself as a prince. and out of nowhere, the lion farts.
Yeah.
And it sounds crude, but in the moment, absolutely hilarious. I had to pause the movie because I was like, all right, I'm gonna miss what's happening next. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. As far as my favorite part of the movie, I would say, actually, you know what? My favorite part is the part that I didn't like that they do, I guess. The part that stood out to me even after the movie was done was the fact that when the story was good as far as the message they were trying to get, but the fact that when he announced her as the ruler, but it was just a private conversation when you were, publicly looking for a ruler, you should have said that like as a big message, like a big announcement. I thought that it should have been a big announcement, but I didn't care that he just said it to her in private. And then, I mean, as far as she's concerned, everybody else is concerned, he's still gonna be the ruler. But that part wasn't. But I like the story that they try to tell, showing the new generation with women being up front, especially being International Women's Month. It would have been a good thing to announce that this is going to be the next ruler of Zamunda. But anyway, how would you score the movie as we finish?
I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just inconsistent. Couldn't vibe with it at all, but still entertaining enough where I enjoyed it.
I think I was a little more generous than you did because I was leaning towards 3.5, but I give it a 4 simply because I think the message came across, and Wesley Snipes definitely made me laugh. I mean, I was laughing throughout the whole movie because each angle had something funny in it, and I think the movie did what it should have done, which was entertaining.
And the callbacks.
Exactly. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully, you enjoy this review, and we'll look forward to another episode very soon.